All right, it's 9 o'clock. Jessica, are you ready?
I am ready. Good morning and welcome to Google Education on Air. My name is Jessica Johnston and I am the moderator for this morning's session with Amy Mayer. If you're just tuning in and you want more information about this free PD event, you can go to educationonair.withgoogle.com. It is my pleasure to introduce your Education on Air speaker this morning, my friend and your favorite, Amy Mayer. Amy is a Google certified teacher, Google education trainer, and the Director of Staff Development and District Initiatives for Huntsville Independent School District in Huntsville, Texas. She is a passionate educator who is on a crusade to inspire teachers and administrators to embrace the future. Amy is a former high school English teacher who is known for her funny, human-centered approach to dealing with shiny new things. Her goal is to learn and share with fellow educators and administrators while working together to help technology become a powerful tool for learning.
Wow, I'm taking you with me everywhere from now on, so you can say that. Thanks for joining us today. Looks like we have 8 viewers so far, and thank you, Anne and Mike and Tom, for being in the Hangout with me, and you're going to interrupt me and tell me if I don't make sense and all that kind of stuff. So let's get right to it because we only have 45 minutes this morning to start learning about Chrome. So I'm going to do a screen share with you, and then I'm going to do something that makes me very nervous. I'm going to make it go full screen. And do you guys see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the presentation that I'm going to work from today, but mainly we're going to be working up here actually in the Chrome browser because I want to make sure that everybody knows about apps and extensions and how you can get more. So it's really learning to fish instead of just me giving you some fish, because then you can go find whatever apps and extensions you want to later on. So this is my contact information, and I'd love to hear from you later on Twitter or Facebook or wherever it is that you like to hang out online. I try to be in all those different places. So you can find me always by the name Fried Technology or Amy Mayer. So let's take a look at Chrome for just a minute. So I know my friends have told me already that this is going to be really, really small for you, but I just want you to know some basic parts. So this white bar across the top is called the Omnibox, and to the right of the Omnibox, these are extensions. If you're a person who does professional development, I think it's really helpful to people to teach them the names of the parts of this browser, especially if it's something that you and your teachers and students are going to work in every day, so that when somebody calls you, they don't say the little thingy and the thingy is not working anymore. Well, that's not really helpful. You can't help them with that. So extensions are tools that live to the right of your Omnibox, and they do things to web pages. So generally speaking, they have some kind of actions they do to web pages. I'm going to show you an example right now. So I'm hovering my mouse up here at the top. Hopefully you can kind of see me, some movement up there at the top. And I'm going to activate an extension called Pic Eyedropper. And Pic Eyedropper is going to let me move around on my screen and pick out colors. So let's say I want to make something that's exactly this Google green right here that you see in this Google Forms icon. And Jessica, are you seeing that okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I can click on that now, and I can grab either the color code here or the RGB numbers right here from my Pic Eyedropper. So you can see how this extension does something to a web page. It lets me analyze it in this case. Other good things to know about Chrome is there's an Apps button. You should be seeing it in the top left underneath your Omnibox to the very left of your Bookmarks bar. When I go in to train people who are just starting with Chrome, I always start out with making sure that they can see that bar. If they can't, then I ask them to go to the hot dogs in the top right. That's right, hot dogs, even though Anne says they're pancakes because she's vegetarian. So either way, you can do hot dogs or hamburgers. Or pancakes if you're vegetarian. But they do look like hot dogs. And this plays out later on in other applications where you'll actually see the ends of the hot dogs. So you'll see the 3 dots. Well, that you can use as proof to prove that those are actually hot dogs, because when you see the ends, there are 3 little circles. So when you go to your hot dogs and you go to bookmarks, you want to make sure that everybody has this check mark, show bookmarks bar. So if they have that, they should see the apps button. If they still say, I don't see that apps button, then you can make sure they're not using a Chromebook, because on a Chromebook, there is no apps button on the bookmarks bar. although you can force it there if you want. So I'm going to navigate over to my apps button. I just clicked it in the top left-hand corner of my browser, and now I'm at a URL, chrome://apps. So you can always get there on any device, and if you lose your fancy apps button, you can navigate to that URL and you can pull it back down into your bookmarks bar again, and it will show up there. So just a couple of things to know about Chrome. So when you navigate to the apps button, that will let you go to the web store. Of course, you could also just bookmark the web store, but this is how Chrome is built, and it is a pretty handy way to get around. So the next thing I want to make sure you know is that when you sign into Chrome on a public computer, you want to wipe away your account before you leave, because you have lots of personal information stored in this account. So there are lots of different ways to do this, but one good technique, easy technique, when you sit down at a public computer is just to go to the hot dogs and go to a new Incognito window. So it's hot dogs, it's the third choice down, new Incognito window, and this will actually give you a browser window that is private from the rest of that computer. And when you close that window, it's just going to delete everything that you did inside there.
So Amy, will you talk through that again, because we're not seeing your little,
oh yeah,
we're not seeing it pop up on the screen share.
Oh, gotcha. So when I opened it, you couldn't see that anymore.
Yeah.
Can you see me clicking the hot dogs and going down to new Incognito window right now?
All we see is you click the hot dogs, so you'll just have to talk through those steps.
All right. Thanks for telling me that. So when you click it, and if you're playing along on your own browser, you can click those hot dogs, and you'll see that as the third option down. And when you do that, it's actually going to open another Chrome window for you. And that one, you can think of it as sort of safe from the rest of that computer that you're working on. So it's sort of a private little space right there. Actually, that's probably maybe the bane of your existence if you're a teacher, because kids, they all know about this, or all teenagers do, I think, and they use it to go to things they're not supposed to be going to at school. So that can be used for nefarious purposes or for really useful purposes. So good to know about it either way. All right, so switching accounts. This has changed recently, so if you need to switch accounts, you'll see in my browser in the very, very top right-hand corner, there's sort of a box, and I know it's really hard for you to see. I'm going to move my mouse around up there so at least you know what area I'm talking about. When I click that, it's going to bring up an accounts chooser like this. If you have a lot of different accounts like I do, it may be, you may have to stretch that window out to see the rest of your accounts. It can be kind of a pain. If you use a Mac, there's a handy new button. Or at least it's new to me. I didn't know it till my friend Jessica Powell showed me this button. But at the top of your Mac, you know how there's another menu up there? You can click on People, and you can navigate among your separate accounts there. Now, somebody right now is thinking, I don't see any of that stuff, and that's because you only have one account logged in on your computer. But my friend Jessica Johnston explained to me how she uses her browser is that she really uses this feature a lot. So what she does is she goes into hot dogs in the top right, and then she goes down to settings, which is about 4 from the bottom. And then when she gets into settings, which I don't think you're going to see me navigate to this.
Now.
You see it? Okay, good. So it's because it didn't open in a new window, I guess.
Yeah.
So now you may see the option down here. You'll see where I'm moving my mouse. It says Add Person. So you can log into a separate account down there. And the way Jessica uses this, Jessica, tell me if I'm wrong, you have your ISD account and then your EdTech Chic account, and you really switch back and forth frequently between those two accounts when you're working. You don't. Yeah, so you don't actually, the way I do that is I log into multiple accounts within one browser window, but you prefer to keep those things completely separate in 2 different accounts.
That's true, and I set the icon to tell me what account I'm in, so I always know where I am and what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I love that work style. Man, this is a terrible morning to have a cough, isn't it? Sorry about that. All right, so let's talk about some Chrome basics. Go ahead. Please, Anne, please.
I'm wondering, too, with Jessica, with you going back and forth between those accounts, then that probably makes it easier to get to the various Google apps, too, so that when you're in Drive, if that window is totally separate, then you're just logged in. Because Amy, I do what you do in one browser window, and then often it asks, please log in again here, because it doesn't know which account you're in.
That's right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
good point. So you would definitely prevent that problem. It really is just about deciding how you want to work. But those are two handy options to use. You can also use what Ann and I are talking about, is adding an account to your default Chrome account. So that's a handy
Inside
way
the app.
too. Inside the app, yes. Okay, so we have 54 viewers and no questions yet. So viewers, hey Max, you scared me. Sorry, my son just walked in and it just like really scared me, like seeing that little girl in the elevator. If you guys seen that YouTube video, it was just like that. So ask some questions in the Q&A app. So if you're on the page, you'll see the ability to do Q&A, and you should be able to ask some questions. We really have no idea how that's going to look to you, but we see the Q&A app, and when you ask a question, we'll see it pop up. So do that. All right, so I am going to talk to you now about some Chrome basics, and that's some ways that you can use the Omnibox. So you should be back at my presentation again, and I'm going to make it nice and big for you. So hopefully you can see the words on the screen. How does that look to you guys?
Looks great.
Okay, good. All right, so the Omnibox is pretty special, and it does some things that might surprise you. So when I open up, I'm going to open up a new tab in my Chrome browser by clicking on the last little nub of a tab. And now I'm going to use my Omnibox as a calculator. So I'm going to type in 12 asterisk 88. A little boy the other day in class, I was in a classroom, said, there's no times button on this computer. I don't know how to type in the times. And he didn't know that the asterisk was times. So I felt really like a successful teacher there for just a minute for showing him that. So, so there's me using my Omnibox as a calculator, and you can see it's a default Google tool. It pulls up this nice calculator here. It even has some scientific stuff that I don't understand, which is always impressive. When you don't understand something, it's like, wow, that must really be cool. So up in the Omnibox, I can do lots of other things. For example, let's say I want to set a timer for my class for 5 minutes. So I just typed in timer 5 minutes, because I know you can't see that on my screen. It's too small. But I'll make this big so you can see it. So do you guys see the timer?
Yes.
That's pretty nice and really useful in class. If you have a projector, you know, you can just put this at the front of the room and you don't really have to get out of your browser or have a separate app or anything. So there are lots of different techniques and tools like this that work in your Chrome browser. For example, if you want to translate something into Roman numerals, you can do 2013 in Roman numerals. Type in weather and then put in your zip code. So 77381 is a zip code near where I live, and that's going to show you a little preview. If you want to see what movies are on, then movies and the zip code. This next one, X asterisk SINY, I don't know. No one's explained this to me yet, so if you're in here and you'd like to explain to me what happens when I do this, you can feel free to do that later. But this makes a pretty graph. Isn't that lovely? Anybody in the Hangout with me today besides Mike want to explain what just happened?
No.
No? No one? Tom? No, he's not saying anything either. Okay, so I don't know. It's a math thing, and if you're a math teacher and you want to teach me about that, I would love to know. You can use define and words. I love this one, and I actually had to try a few different examples to get this to work. So I'm going to type in Cesar Chavez, Austin, Texas, to Main Street, Fredericksburg, Texas, and watch what happens. So it's going to know this is a map thing, and it's going to give me a preview right here on the screen. It's not going to actually go over to maps, but it's going to give me a little preview and tell me how much time and how many miles that's going to be. Well, I frequently have to turn in mileage for work, and that's really handy. So I don't have to go to maps.google.com, then type in my location, then hit directions, then type in the other address. If you use this format, it will just come right up and tell you what you need. You can refine search results through here. So, for example, best restaurants in Austin. And then another day when we have more time, we'll learn about adding custom search engines, because that's a neat technique. And then you can also find out the meaning of life. So this one, the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Anybody know what it is before I type it in?
Yes.
Do you know because I told you, or do you know because you read the book?
No, I know because of Joe Shell, our Brenham ISD technician.
All right, so if you're a Hitchhikers fan, then you know the answer is 42, and Google proves it. So Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy right there. I haven't read it in such a long time. I was almost like, what? I barely remember that. So just some things that you can do with your Omnibox that I think are pretty cool. There are so many more things. So if you find new ones and you want to let me know, please let me know. I'd love to know even more things you can do with your Omnibox. So Chrome Basics. This slide is a tad bit outdated, but I left it in here anyway because something has happened recently, and that's that the Bookmark Manager has changed. So you guys who are in my panel today, has this changed for you? So when you go to Bookmarks and go to your Bookmarks Manager now, do you see this new view?
I don't on my personal computer, but I do on my work computer.
Okay. Well, I think everybody's going to see it soon, and it's, you know, I mean, it's one of those love-hate kind of things. Every time Google changes something, you got to figure out whether you love or hate it. I'm still deciding. It doesn't do some things, this new Bookmark Manager, that I'd like for it to do, and I've had it for a while because I read this little obscure article somewhere on the internet that said, hey, go install this preview of the new Chrome Bookmark Manager, and I did, and it gave me this new view a long time ago, and then I thought, I don't really like this. I'd like to go back now. Well, you couldn't go back. So as far as I know, there's now no way to regress your account. I read all the articles and tried all the little nerd tricks where you hack your Chrome, and I can't go back again. So it's different. It's interesting. I see the ability we're going to have to share a folder, and that's going to make any downside to this worth it. I have not figured out how to do that yet, but I see that it's in my future. All right, so can
Real
you
quick, Amy?
Yes, please go ahead, Tom.
So does that mean you can make a whole list of bookmarks and then share your bookmarks with someone else?
Yeah, it looks like that feature is going to be possible.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So I was griping about little things like not being able to alphabetize them, which I really like the ability to do, which will surprise Jessica Johnston because she doesn't think I care about things like that, but I do. And you can't do that right now, and it really bothers me. But that's the ability to share, just like everything else, Google, the ability to share is what's going to make it worth it. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right, so there are some apps in the store that you pay for. So let's make sure we know how to get to the store and how to get an app, and then we can talk about paying for things. So I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to go to my fancy apps button, which is in the top left. And then I'm going to navigate to the web store. Now, if for some reason those other steps are not working for you, you could always just Google Chrome Web Store, I'm sure, and you can just click the link. So this is the web store, and for people who haven't seen this before, it's a really amazing thing. So when you go into the Chrome Web Store, you can actually kind of install software into your browser. So somebody's mind just got blown because there's 54 people in our Hangout right now. So somebody's like, what? That's amazing. So since my panelists are not saying that for me, which I was hoping they were.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
Whoa, what? I didn't know.
Right? Thanks. See, I should have invited different people. Y'all already know too much. But when you go into the web store, you can find these apps we're going to talk about today, and you can install them into your browser, which is pretty fun, especially because most of them are free. But there are two that I want to talk about today that either I or my school district actually pay for. Does anybody else use Read and Write in your school district?
We do.
You guys
do.
Do you pay for it in Brenham?
No.
So we are buying it because, as you know, the full version, the gold version, is free for teachers, and here's a URL right down here that you can use if you have teachers who want it, but it is not free for students. So we're using it with some of our especially special education students who have modifications. And what it does, the main thing that it does, and it does many, many things. I actually met with their representative recently and learned it does a whole bunch of things I didn't know about. But the thing that we love it for is it reads files aloud to students. So this is really empowering for children. And I'm really thinking of junior high and high school kids who have the modification that they need things read aloud to them, especially during testing, and they're dependent on a person. So they really like the ability to put in some headphones, have their reading done to them when they need it. And also, this is a kind of a life skill. I mean, they don't have to stop using this when they leave school. So this is something that they can continue to use through the years. It's really cool. So it's read and write for Google. So let's just practice really quickly. When we go over to the Chrome Web Store, we can type in read and write. And I just typed it as all one word, and this is it right here. It shows up as a purple icon, and if you don't have it already, you'll be able to click plus free, and that will install it into your browser, and when you're on a Google Doc, you'll see it activate, and you'll have the ability to approve that app and get it working in your browser. Are we getting any questions yet, Jessica?
Nope, I'm not seeing any. I'm about to go in and give them some encouragement.
Okay, great. The other app that I love so much I pay for, and again, you can get this app for free, just like Read and Write. There's a free version of it, and I have some links here on the screen. Hopefully you can see. And this is Picmonkey. I really love this photo editor. It's super amazing, incredible. So I have Photoshop, and I use Photoshop from time to time, but Photoshop is a complicated order. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue with that. Picmonkey is really simple. Anyone can use it, and it can make your pictures look so much better. Like, have you ever put makeup on your unmakeup self, anyone? Mike, Tom?
Can't say I have, no.
Well, Tom, here's a Saturday afternoon activity for you two. So you can go into Picmonkey and you can do things like make yourself look pretty. So, or other people, you know, it's always good to think of others. So how do you get it? You go into your Chrome Web Store, you type in Picmonkey, and then you're going to see two different ones this time. One is going to be an app, you'll see that toward the top, and one is an extension. This extension is pretty cool too, and it's completely free. And what it lets you do is reap pictures from web pages. So for example, if I go to CNN.com and I go to my Picmonkey extension up here, then it's going to show me every single image that's on this web page. So all of these images are a part of this page. So if I want to pull off this CNN logo, I can click on that image and it's going to open up in the Picmonkey app, and it's going to let me manipulate that image. Now, it's not going to make that image bigger because nothing can do that. An image is the size it is. You know, you can only make it smaller. But that's still pretty cool to be able to pull that specific image off and get it right into your editing software. So that's the extension, but the thing that I really want you to get is the app. So it's going to be the first one in your list, and you'll see this show up in two different places. So one place it's going to show up is, of course, on your apps screen. You're going to see it. There's mine right there. The other place that you're going to see it, anybody know? I don't want you to pretend. You know, Jessica.
I don't think I do.
Well, this is going to be fun then.
You're going to blow my mind?
I hope so. So the other place where this shows up is in your Google Drive. So you know how I love to turn Beyonce into a zombie. This is what I use to do it. So so if I go and search for Beyonce, I know I'm going to find a bunch of image files that are in my Google Drive. So there are some JPEGs there, for example. So I can find one right here, and when I right-click it, I can choose Open With, and I can choose Picmonkey, and there it is in my list. And I can open that picture from my Google Drive right up in Picmonkey. It has a new feature recently that's going to allow me to save this picture as a copy or save over my original. So that's pretty nice to be able to do that. But it's connecting right to Google Drive. So when I edit this picture and then I click Save up here, where do you think the picture is going to be saved?
Google Drive.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's pretty cool, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. So I pay money for it. It's like $4 a month, but you can get a lot of features for free, but not all the very best ones. So anyway, that's a really nerdy thing to do, to pay $4 a month for Picmonkey, but there you go. This one is totally free, and I want everybody to get it. You just have to have it because it's so incredible. I'm going to switch to my next slide so that you can see one of the things that it's going to let you do. So this is Techsmith Snagit. You might know it as an application that you install on your computer. This one is going to work right through your Chrome browser, and it's going to let you make animated GIFs. And I used to think they were called GIFs, but I've now received an education. They're called GIFs, like the peanut butter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
See,
depressing.
now you blew my mind.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome.
That's an ongoing argument, actually.
Oh, is it?
The inventor says it's GIF. So I don't know how you argue with that, but I really preferred it to be GIF personally. I don't know why. I just liked it that way, but it's not. It's GIF. So this is the Snagit tool, and it runs in my browser. It looks like an extension, but this one's a little bit different. So when you go into your apps button and you go into your web store and you look for Snagit, all one word, you're going to install both parts, the app and the extension. If you only get one part, it's going to prompt you to get the other part. What this is going to let you do is make screencast recordings of your screen, and if they're less than 20 seconds, you're going to be able to turn them into GIFs. So this is Snagit. It's in my extensions bar to the right of my Omnibox, and when I activate it, I know it's showing really small for you guys, but I have some choices up here. So I have region, the visible area of my screen. I can do scrolling. This is really great. If you're filling out a contract or an agreement online and it's multiple pages, you can use this scrolling button and it will automatically scroll through and take a picture of all those pages and store it in your Google Drive. Super convenient. And this one is screen. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when I try to record my screen while I'm in a Hangout, but hey, you know, we're living on the edge today, so let's try it. So if I want to record my screen, it's going to let me pick which version of my screen I want to record. So I'm going to pick this one right here, not my entire screen. You're not seeing it?
No, just talk through it.
All right, I'll talk through it. So it shows me all the different places on my screen I can record. So I can just pick the screen I'm on right now, and I'll click the word share. So in Techsmith land, share means record. I think that's a little odd, Techsmith people, if you're watching today. It should just say record. That would be clear to everyone. But I can go ahead and crop Beyonce here, and now I'm going to click stop sharing. That means stop recording in Techsmith land. Now, are you guys seeing Beyonce there on my screen inside the Snagit editor?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go up to the top and name my my snag, and I'll call it Beyonce with bad hair, because sister, please, what were you thinking? And you know her mom does her hair, so I don't know what either one of them were thinking. This is 17 seconds long, so I'm going to be able to turn it into a GIF. I'm going to click on the ends of the hot dogs. Now, I'd like for anyone who thinks that those are not hot dogs in the top right to now acknowledge that they do see that they're hot dogs in the bottom right of my screen. Do you see the ends of them there?
Yes.
I think she's asking you, Ann.
I am. I'm talking to Ann. And those are not the ends of pancakes. Those are the ends of hot dogs.
I can't see them. They're too little.
Yeah, stop it. I'll show you.
I always use pancakes, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, they're not, and I just proved it to you. That's all right. That's okay. It's all right. I take all kinds and believe in all people, so well, you can do whatever you want. So down here, when I click on the ends of the hot dogs, I see three choices. I can get a link to this video in Google Drive, I can send the video to YouTube, or I can turn it into an animated GIF. So I'll pick the third option. It says cooking up there on the screen. And now it says grab link or download. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a link to it. And now it says a URL to this GIF has been placed on your clipboard. So now I can open up a new tab and choose Paste and Go, and I'll be seeing my crop of the Beyonce picture there in Picmonkey. So if somebody sent me the question, hey, how do I crop a picture in Picmonkey? I could do this, and it would show them how to do it. It repeats over and over again. That's what GIFs do. And so that's a pretty cool little tool, especially if you're a teacher and you're trying to use technology tools with your class, but you're having to explain the same little process over and over and over again. This is so nice. So grab that link, put the link on your web page, and teach kids the process of getting to your web page so that they can, self-serve that information.
And can I do a little plug for Jessica Powell's blog post on this?
Oh, yeah, great point.
So if you go to blogs.techsmith.com, Jessica Powell, our friend and colleague, just did a really great write-up on how to use this with professional development. And kind of our rule of thumb in Brenham is if you get asked the same question 4 times, it's time to make an animation or a screenshot about how to solve that problem.
That's a great rule of thumb. So here's that post, PD with pictures using screencasting to save your sanity. Isn't that Jessica's?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of great tips in it. It's really very information-packed, so definitely check that out on the Techsmith blog. We love this company. We love the people who work there. We love the products they put out, and it's such a great service to education to have this extension and app for use for free. So that brings me to the next thing, and this is our audience participation portion, and we really do hope that you will participate. So panelists, I hope all of you guys will participate, and our 50 viewers, I hope you guys will participate. So what I'd like you to do is open a new tab in your browser and go to goo.gl/M, lowercase s, lowercase w, lowercase t, number 5, and submit your favorite apps and extensions. Did you guys find that URL worked okay for you?
Yes, I am there.
Great.
Hey, Amy.
Yes.
Have you ever tried Awesome Screenshot or any other screencasting or screen capturing apps?
Yes, I have. I like Snagit the best, but I know different people use different tools that they really love. So what do you like about that one, Spall?
For photo capturing, I really like Awesome Screenshot. One, I like that you can blur. You have a blur method on it. It's also housed in the Awesome Screenshot app, and you can also upload to your drive, and download to your computer. So it has a couple options.
Very cool.
It has more color options and it has more resizing options, but I like that Snagit also has the screencasting that you can do, and like you just showed, making things into GIFs or GIFs. So.
You had to throw that in there, didn't you?
Since you don't have any questions, may I share one of my favorite Chrome extensions?
Yes, please do.
So I like Page Ruler, and I just submitted it in your form. It's an extension, and it allows you to, when you click on that extension in your browser, it gives you crosshairs, and you can click and drag on any section of a website, and it'll tell you the height and width and pixels and how far you are from the left or the right or the top or the bottom from the screen. So if you do any sort of web design, that's a really handy tool.
I'm so glad you said that. So people have told me about that tool before, and I installed it, but I didn't know that it could tell me the size of something.
So like if you need to create a banner, you can just measure the size, and then you go into Google Drawing, create your new banner, upload it, and it's perfect.
Oh, wow. That's life changer for me. Thank you for sharing that. I'm serious. I didn't know that it did that. I have been screenshotting and then looking at the screenshot to see how big it is. So that's a major time saver.
And I've been using Canva a lot to do those kind of banners or Twitter headers and stuff like that. And then Jessica told me about that and just make it like that using the page ruler, and it's worked out really well. So
good deal.
That's awesome. I got to try that. So if you guys want to see the responses that have already come in this form, some of them are from previous trainings, hopefully some of them are from today, then you can go to this URL. So if I were you and I were going to write down one URL today, and you care about apps and extensions, this is the one I would write down. So these are everyone's responses to the form, and it's at goo.gl/, capital K, capital X, capital B, capital C, lowercase h. So when you go to that URL, you're going to see the spreadsheet. And that's where you're going to get the really good stuff. And that's what everybody else uses, and then hopefully a little bit of information about why they're using that particular thing. So I just have to take a look at it for just a minute. Because I just want to see for my own purposes what just showed up in there. And there's page ruler. Yeah, that goo.gl URL shortener is amazing. Lucid chart, awesome, great company too. And then Trevor said sorted smart skin for Gmail. I've never tried that before. I'll have to look into that. And there's Efren. Efren, thanks for coming today. Clearly.
Oh, that's a good one.
Tell me what it does. Removes unnecessary things, he says.
But kind of, it just drills down on the content on the page and not all of the extra stuff that is distracting.
Awesome, awesome. So really great for teachers. So we're going to look at a few more amazing apps and extensions in our time today, but please go back to this and put in your favorites. It definitely will impact what we're using, because we'll go back and look at this later and see what you suggested. Read and Write also has an option called hover speech. So this lets students have web pages read to them. So if you don't know about that and you're using Read and Write, check it out. This one is called Web Page Screenshot. Now, this could definitely be used for good or for bad. So, you know, just like all tools, but it's pretty amazing what it does. It works particularly well on CNN. So I'm going to go to CNN, and then I'm going to find a web page screenshot in my list, which is harder with all of you people watching. I don't know why that is, but always harder to find extensions when people are watching you. Okay, well, maybe we'll go and make sure we have it installed. So I'm going to go back to my Apps button, back to my web store, and this tool is called Web Page Screenshot. So I know we've talked about a lot of screenshot tools today, but there are just so many that are good, and maybe it's gone from the store. I don't see it. Does anybody else still see it in your browser? Those of you guys who have used this before?
Nope.
Okay, well, it looks like it's gone from the store, which can happen at any time. Web page screenshot used to do something really incredible. Maybe it comes back. It actually lets you edit web pages. So you're on the web page, you click web page screenshot, you click on the text, and it lets you change the text. So I'll keep an eye out for that in case it comes back, but it's not there right now. This is from my friend JR. And if you're coming to the Texas Google Summit this year, then JR will be there. I can't wait to go to his sessions and see what he has to say. We're always trading back and forth favorite apps and extensions, and two he told me about that I use all the time now. I don't think it will work for me to show you today because it's actually going to split my screen, but Tab Scissors and Tab Glue are really useful to know about. Those are my two favorites that he's ever shared with me. So what they do, if you have Tab Scissors, is that you can split your browser. So let's say on the left-hand side you've got 3 tabs, and on the right-hand side you've got 3 tabs. You go to your third tab, your middle tab, and you use your Tab Scissors. It's going to take your browser and split it into 2 equal parts if you're in full screen mode. Really handy. And then you can bring those 2 browser windows back together with Tab Glue.
That's one I use every single day.
I use it all the time now, all the time. And I resisted it for a long time. I was like, why would you need to do that? You know, and I totally get it now. It's part of the way I work. So check that out from JR and his other apps too. So this is not super new, but relatively new desktop apps. I can't show you today on my computer what these look like because it'd be outside the browser window I'm broadcasting right now, but you'll see it on your computer as a little icon like this one I'm swirling around in the bottom left-hand corner. And these are apps that install kind of sort of to your computer, so you can access them independent of your Chrome browser. Now, if you don't see that on your computer and you want to get that, the way you do it is you go into the Chrome Web Store and you find the collection that's called For Your Desktop. When you install any one of those, it's automatically going to put this onto the desktop of your computer. So it's pretty neat. The only one I ever really consistently access like that is Google Keep, and that's where I do my note-taking, so it's kind of like Evernote, and if you haven't tried it in a while, it's come a long way. It has a lot of really neat features now. So I use Keep like that, and I don't have Chrome open, which is rare, but you know, sometimes I don't have Chrome open, and so I go to Google Keep and take a note or whatever, mostly when I'm trying to work on something else and not get distracted. So we have a few minutes left, about 5 minutes exactly, and we still don't have any questions?
No questions.
Well, that's just because I'm being so clear.
So thorough.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'll tell myself that. This is important for our students because not all of our students have internet at home. So knowing about offline apps is really important to them. We do check out internet in Huntsville, but not every student can check out internet every day. And we have more devices than we do our little MiFis. So this is pretty cool. So offline apps are things that are going to work for students even when they get home when they're offline. So this is where you find them. They're in the Chrome Web Store, and you want to look for that category called offline apps. Whoops! Just touched my mouse in a bad way there. Sorry. So this is another URL that I want to share with you today, and let me go back and hopefully let it full screen because it's cutting it off. All right, let me exit so you can see that URL. What I did is I found this extension that I installed into my browser, and it let me turn a list of all of my apps and extensions into a web page. So if you go to bit.ly/Amy's with a capital A, extensions with a capital E, then you're going to see a list of every single extension and app that I have installed, and then it's going to give you a link to that extension and app. So what I found when I worked with people who were new to the Chrome browser is they said, I just want to install a bunch of stuff and kind of try it out, but the store is so big and I don't really know what to pick. And I thought, I wish I could just kind of give you what I have installed so you'd have a place to start. And this extension kind of let me do that. I wish I could remember what it was called. I would tell you about it right now. But I can't, so I'll have to post that on Twitter later if you're interested in that. So if you go to that URL, do you see that list of apps and extensions?
Yes, and it's a fabulous list.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hey, Amy, Efren
Yeah.
just sent me a message that folks are asking questions, but it's not showing up in our Q&A feed. So if I get feedback from him in the next 3 minutes, I'll tell you where to go to answer those questions. So if you asked a question and we don't get to answer it right now, don't worry, we'll find a way to get those answers to you.
Yeah, thanks, Efren, for letting us know that because, again, we're not seeing them. I'm not sure why that would be. You can always find us, all of us. We're all on Twitter and Google+, of course, and in our GEGs. So you can find us in all those places. All right, so a couple more things before we go offline of our session today. We have 2 minutes left. We talked a little bit about Google Drive apps. So one of those that's really great is MoveNote. I couldn't leave today without making sure that you know about this tool. What it's going to let you do is do a little recording with a webcam next door to your presentation. So this is kind of what it looks like. You wouldn't believe how many times I had to do that screenshot, and that's the best I could get. Like every time my face was in some kind of contortion. So that's as good as it gets. But MoveNote's incredible if you need to share some information with people. You can talk about it and have your presentation so you don't end up with one of those presentations with 50,000 words people have to read on every slide. Incredible. So I want to leave you today with a little promo about our upcoming Google Summit. I don't know if this code still works anymore, so let me take that off, beauty of Google. But if you're in Texas or if you want to come to Texas, we're having our awesome summit May 16th. We still have maybe about 30 tickets left, I would think, because I've seen a lot of sales come through recently. So if you want to join us for that, we would love to have you. We talk about these kind of things and so many more. So come and join us. And
Hey,
I'm gonna,
Amy, could
yeah.
you maybe share the URL to this presentation that you've been using?
Yes, I will. It's not in perfect order, actually, because I have kind of toyed with it for today's purposes, but it is, and I will go back to screen share again so you can see it. And that's why I didn't share it with you to begin with, so hey, don't judge, because I kind of reorganized it for today. But it's bit.ly/Chrome capital C, sharing capital S, caring capital C. So if you want to look at the presentation, that's the link. And I hope you learned something new today. And I guess we'll go find your questions now and try to answer those. So thanks for coming. Anybody have any other last words?
Great job, Amy. This was fun. I even learned a few new things.
Yay! Thank you very
Yeah,
much
this
for
is
being.
awesome.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you guys so much for getting up early on a Saturday.
You bet. I learned a lot of new things too, so going to go try them out now.
Yay! All right.
Thanks, Amy.
Have a good day, everybody.
You
See you,
too.
bud.
Bye-bye.
Bye.